I'm Heather from Here Booktubes, and today our book recommendations around 200 pages. So I think I did this based off of Goodreads. I did the notes for this back in January. This video has literally been postponed over and over and over again, but this is in order from shortest to longest, and according to Goodreads, so it might not be exact, they range in length from 180 pages to 260 pages. So the first book I'm talking about is 180. We progress all the way to the end, which is 260. I have 14 books to talk about. These are some of my favorites in this sweet spot length range that I really love. I really adore a romance around 200 pages. It's perfect for me. It's exactly what I want. So if you have a recommendation that is approximately that length, I would love to know. First one is Hold by Cate. This is one of my all-time favorite books. It is a prison planet. She makes a deal with a man that he will protect her in exchange for sex. And it's my perfect iteration of this trope. It's a trope that I have tried many times. I never found one that I liked except for this one. This one is perfect in every single way. If you like Debcon, but still with some morality in there. If you love a grumpy, quiet hero, if you love people making the best of a bad situation, I love this book. Then I have To Her Rescue, which is the Night Brothers #1 by Dria Andersen. This is a black love shifter romance. This one is Panthers, maybe? But she gets an inheritance and her family is trying to kill her, and he swoops in and does an arranged marriage and tells them to back off and protects her and really stands up for her and adores her, worships the ground that she walks on. She's a very quiet, witchy nature person. He's just very protective, and I love that in an alpha. Then I have Yours Insatiably by Aveda. This is everybody's pansexual, a succubus and a non-binary fairy, and the fairy is a sex worker. They are actually co-workers at a museum, and then they hook up because the succubus needs to feed, and he is the sex worker that comes to her door through the service, and then he helps her loosen up. Then I Return to Monte Carlo by Cate. This is a 80s set romance that it has consensual non-consent and a secret baby and a runaway wife and all of that. So he's really struggling with the kind of Madonna and the horror complex. He doesn't feel like he should have this type of sex with his wife, especially not when she's pregnant, but that is the kink that they like, and he just like can't get over it. And he's also having a lot of issues with his family and his business and stuff, and he kind of neglected his wife, and now he's gonna pay for it, and she's gonna run away from him, and he's going to say, oh no you're not, and he's gonna get her back. Then I have The Cardigans, which is Criminal Intentions #1 by McCade. This is everybody's queer crime procedural, that's probably not how you say that. So it's written like the episodes of a TV show in a lot of different ways, and you are following two detectives, and there are extensive content warnings listed at the beginning of every book. They are dealt with really respectfully, but some of them are pretty heavy. So the first book is their first case together because one of the guys just transferred. It's a really lovely kind of slow burn romance throughout these books. Then I have The Blue Castle by Montgomery. This is a classic book where she finds out that she only has a year to live, so she stops living under the thumb of her family and goes and has adventures and has a marriage of convenience and falls in love, and then maybe finds out that she's going to live and she has tricked her husband into being married to her. Then I have Bryony and Roses by Kingfisher. This is a fantasy romance that is a Beauty and the Beast retelling. This is a really good retelling. It follows the beats, but not exactly, where you're kind of bored because you know every single thing that's going to happen in the story. It had a very creative twist on it. And of course, Kingfisher's writing and characters and dialogue are so lovely and funny and witty and quick, and it's just excellently done. Next I have The Fixer, which is Professionals #1 by Jessica Gadziala. This is romantic suspense where she has a stalker and she is not able to get help for the stalker. She goes to a fixer agency basically as a last recourse, and the fixer agency is something that they literally, keep you from going to jail because they scrub the crime scene and all of that. And they basically turn her down and are like, we don't do stalkers. But the boss was out of town, and the receptionist that basically runs the company had a bad feeling. So she sends him out to see her when he comes back the next day. And the stalker had been there, had escalated, had broken in, and is dead. And he's like, well, we do this, so you're a client now. And they have a romance. Then I have Bash, which is Wolf Warriors MC #1 by Casey Mills. This is a Black motorcycle club, and very fun, very alpha hero and a sassy heroine. A lot of like the very classic motorcycle club tropes, but done really, really well in a way that I really enjoyed and haven't had so much fun with in a while. Then I had The Culmination of Everything, which is Sugar Valley #1 by Christina C. Jones. This is a hard-hitting contemporary romance that deals a lot with grief. She has lost a spouse and a child, and he is a former firefighter that was so injured on the job he can no longer perform that job, and he is so grumpy. He is not nice, and she is there on a break. She's a surgeon. She's thrown herself into work for the last few years, and she needs to stop. So she's there, and he rescues her. He's not happy about rescuing her. He thinks she's a moron, and they have a hate relationship with benefits, and it's so good. Then I have If She Says Yes, which is Say Yes Duet #1 by Tasha L. Harrison. This is Older Woman, Younger Man. He is the best friend of her son. Her son is getting married, and he's going to take care of the mother of the groom for the weekend. He's always had a crush on her. He met her when he was a college student. She's never encouraged it. She had a husband for one, but he was kind of the worst. And, you know, now she just wants to accept his worship, and the sex in this is so hot. Next I have Upside Down by N.R. Walker. This is both men are ace, and one of them is really experienced with that, and one of them is kind of finding out that that is a thing and that it applies to them. And it's a very sweet, lovely contemporary romance. It's really funny, and I like watching people learn more about their queer identities and realizing that what they have experienced has framework with other people. It's not just them. There's language for it. There's other people that feel the same way as them. They're not broken. They're not weird. And that how they are is fine. It's perfectly fine. And I really love watching adults, especially, I think, just discover that, and then also discover love along the way. There is no sex in this book. I believe, if I'm remembering correctly, that neither one of them is interested in sex at all, ever. So that is where they kind of fall on the spectrum of ace, because it's not just one thing, right? Then I have Magic Bites, which is Kate Daniels #1 by Alona Andrews. I was kind of surprised at how short this book was. So this is a 10-book urban fantasy series, and she is a mercenary that is in hiding and hiding her true power, and he is the beast lord of the shifters, and they have a hate to love relationship, which also, especially in these first like 2 books, is reluctant allies to lovers, and I just love that. And then lastly, I have Zenny by Rebecca Weatherspoon. This is a marriage of convenience where they need to get married for an inheritance. They are both bisexual. She is a Black woman and he is a giant Scotsman. And they are so sweet and so funny and just the perfect match. I loved these characters so, so much. And I cried and laughed in the first chapter, so I felt like that's pretty hard to do. So that's it. I know this was quick and sweet, and if you are a regular on my channel, you probably heard about all these before, but I just wanted to give you a quick recommendation video with lots of different authors and lots of different categories that falls into this length of books. So when you're in that mood, you want to be able to finish a whole book. You don't really want a novella, but you also don't want to be there for 350, 440, 560 pages like some of these books are. This is where you want to go. And again, if you have recommendations for me in this length, I would really appreciate it because I always am looking for more, honestly. Thanks so much for watching. Bye!